Alright, iPhone rumors start to get good, but not necessarily for everyone. Because yes, new dummy units show us this year's upcoming iPhones, but it seems that they get kind of contradicting when it comes to the Mini. A new leak gives us a better idea of what the Galaxy S22 and S22 Plus cameras will be capable of, and we have new details on the upcoming iPhone SE, which is getting better, but not exactly how we wanted. I'm Jaime Rivera, and which was your favorite version of Windows? Stay tuned for our coverage tomorrow. This is Pocketnow Daily. The official news today start with the fact that if you missed out on Prime Day, no worries, we've got your back. Some good deals are still live, and remember, you can skip this section if you want. Let's start with the latest iPad Air, which is still $80 off, meaning it starts at $520. However, if you want more storage, the 256 gigs of storage model is $100 off, leaving that at $649. If you're looking for a powerful desktop, the M1 Mac Mini is $120 off, leaving the half a terabyte of storage model for $780. And if you want probably the best fitness smartwatch that I can recommend, the Garmin Fenix 6 Pro that I'm currently using is $100 off, so you can grab that for $550. And I know it's expensive, but it's kind of worth it. And if you want the 6S Pro, that one is $150 off as well if you want a smaller variant. Finally, Samsung.com is still running their crazy trade-in deals where you can grab the Galaxy S21 5G for $100, the S21 Plus for $200, and the Ultra for $500. And by the way, the Galaxy Z Fold 2 is back in stock for those of you that are worried, but that one is $1,200 and you need an eligible device for trade-in. We have more deals on Samsung monitors, laptops, Garmin smartwatches, and more in the description. Let's move the spotlight onto Sammy and their wearables because it looks like we're close to some new hardware. Last month, Samsung and Google announced their partnership to fix smartwatches, but it's not out yet. We don't have any hardware, and both companies have been very vague about current hardware being supported. Now we have some new renders of the upcoming Galaxy Watch Active 4, and I know, where's the 3? We're wondering, but it comes from OnLeaks and it shows off the new designs. From these renders, we can tell that Samsung is sticking to the round display as well as that premium aluminum build. The Watch Active 4 is expected to come in 40 and 44mm variants with a 2.5D glass display, and the buttons seem to have a different shape when compared to its predecessor. It'll reportedly be available in 4 different color variants, being black, silver, gold, and green, and the concept creator for these renders mentions that the shades they used aren't too accurate when compared to the actual models. Now, we don't have any dates for this just yet, but Samsung did mention that they're reimagining smartwatches at MWC, so hopefully this is making the cut and it brings the new Wear OS, and it actually has something to talk about for MWC. Now, how about if we move things over to Apple and what we can expect for next year, starting with the iPhone SE. We have a new research note from none other than Ming Chi Kuo, where he claims that Cupertino will be launching an updated version of the iPhone SE in the first half of next year, and it gets interesting. In the note, he mentions that the design will stay roughly the same, so yes, it'll still look pretty much like the iPhone 8, but it won't necessarily be the same phone. See, Kuo claims that the 2022 iPhone SE will support 5G and will include a new processor as well, making it the cheapest 5G iPhone ever, which is probably how Apple will decide to market it. And yeah, Kuo has also mentioned of an iPhone SE Plus in the past with Touch ID in the power button, but he hasn't talked about it in a while, so it could just be that Apple scrapped it. In a previous report, he also talked about Apple developing a new version of the iPhone 11 with a 6-inch LCD display, Face ID, 5G as a new iPhone SE, but we'll probably have to wait a lot later for that. So yes, the next iPhone SE will be the cheapest 5G iPhone, and it's coming out next year, but you know, we're still getting the same design, which fine, it makes sense for all those fans of home buttons and Touch ID. And before we get to the hottest news, let's go back on to Samsung and what we're getting with the lower-end Galaxy S22 models. So far, most of the Galaxy S22 leaks have been about the Ultra, saying that it'll bring real continuous zoom and other features, but we haven't heard much about the brothers. Well, a new leak from Tron claims that these two will finally get camera upgrades. We're talking a 50-megapixel main sensor, a 12-megapixel telephoto with 3x optical zoom, and a 12-megapixel ultra-wide. And if you're worried that this is the end of large pixels, Sammy does have a large 50-megapixel sensor with 1.4 microns that then grows to 2.8 thanks to pixel binning. Assuming this is the same sensor, it also records 8K video, and Samsung might refresh it with new features before we get these phones early next year. Tron also referred to these as Samsung's Rainbow R/G, as the S22 series is reportedly codenamed Rainbow, with each device getting the letter from RGB, meaning the Ultra is the B. However, he did end the tweet saying that we should take these with a grain of salt as it's still very early, but with rumors pointing to Samsung heavily differentiating the S22 and the S22 Plus from the Ultra, I don't think this is a bad camera setup at all. Let's just hope they continue getting cheaper, as the way they were this year was pretty good. And finally, for the hottest news today, let's switch back to Apple, but this time we're gonna talk about things we can expect for this year with the iPhone 13 or 12s, whatever you want to call it. Yesterday we talked about some leak specifications and price tags thanks to a new report, but let's just say things are taking an interesting turn. We have some new dummy units with all 4 sizes coming from Sony Dickinson. These dummies show the new camera module from the smaller variants where the cameras sit diagonally from each other. And yes, we can see how much larger the camera humps are on the Pros. Renders by Ian also chimed in and said that these dummies match his renders, which were made from CAD files. Now, on the original Sony tweet, he claims that all 4 models are still happening, but that's where things take a twist. See, that report from TrendForce that we covered yesterday claims that Apple plans to focus on the larger iPhones this year due to the commercial failure of the iPhone 12 mini. And apparently the bad performance is speculated to be because of poor battery life and the better value from the iPhone 12, claiming that the mini might become similar to the SE range probably in the future. The thing about it is, the iPhone 12 mini just reached its end of production cycle, way before the other models due to low sales, so it would make sense for Apple to skip it, even if there are still other reports claiming that it could happen. In today's question, let us know, do you care about that mini iPhone? Because I wanted to like it, but I pretty much state myself when I clarify that I have trouble reading text on it, so that's just me. Leave us a comment down below. We'd love to know your opinion. Friends, again, if you want to get the news earlier, follow us on Pocketnow.com and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this one. You can also follow us on social media, so our extended coverage happens on Instagram. And follow me on my personal handles to see me, bring back some nostalgia with Windows. Please give this video a thumbs up if you like what you saw. I'm Jaime Rivera. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.